late, 5 minutes, almost exact.
Oh, you're right, sorry. I was talking with you.
Yeah, I haven't chaired this meeting before, but I've been here for every meeting for like 4 years, so this is not like the first time. And I'm going to dispense with reading the mission statement. You've all heard it over and over again, and we'll read it periodically, but just keep that in mind. We're here for the students. And we have the next order on the agenda is roll call, and I note that Marcia, our president, is absent, that Marty Bloom is also absent and on vacation. Everybody else is present and accounted for, so we only have 2 empty chairs.
What's the matter with people? They go on vacation. Is that,
I didn't know you had the floor.
can they do that? Can they do that?
Probably with good conscience. So this is really good that, and we have Veronica too. I was worried till 5 after, we still didn't have a quorum till Jonathan walked in, and now you came, so we're okay. We can proceed with what's on the agenda.
Thank you, teacher. I noticed you didn't mark me tardy. You said I was present.
Veronica is present, so is Jonathan and Marianne Kugler, our past president. So welcome to all of you. We have quite a few people in attendance, and it's always appreciated by this board when the public and the faculty and staff come and maybe listen to what we have, what we do, how we conduct business and what we're conducting. The first item on the agenda is we have some recognitions. So Paul Zarell,
Yes.
the floor is yours.
All right, great, thank you. Thanks, Craig. Yes, we have a number of recognitions you'll notice on the agenda. 2 in particular have come that we can recognize and praise them a little bit in person here. So first, if we could get Pat, if she could come do hers, and then I've got one that I will present as well.
Good afternoon, members of the board and members of the SBCC community. I would like to invite Sharon Raymackle to come down and join me at the podium. These flowers are for you, but you can't have them just yet.
She does everything.
By virtue of her current responsibilities for employee benefits and human resources, you've all interacted with Sharon over the years, but I've had the privilege of working with her on an ongoing basis since October of 2006, which doesn't sound like a long time ago to me. On more than one occasion, Sharon has reminded me, this is the longest I've ever worked anyplace. I choose to receive this as praise. Not unlike many other employees, Sharon began her relationship with Santa Barbara City College prior to her employment in 2006. She completed the esthetician program in 2003 at our Cosmetology Academy. This was after earning a bachelor's in communication from the University of Hartford in Connecticut in 1995. Sharon is a local gal. She attended St. Raphael's School and Bishop Diego High School and returned to Santa Barbara after graduating from college in Connecticut. Native Santa Barbarans are uncommon, but we have one in Sharon. Her first position in human resources in 2006 was filling a new position, and 7 months later, in May of 2007, she was promoted to oversee the front desk of our department. This particular assignment in human resources is responsible for processing new short-term hourly and student workers, of which we have many each year. By this time, Sharon had begun supplementing her education by taking classes in the HR certificate program through UCSB Extension. Sharon was promoted into her current position January 1st, 2013, and is the lead person responsible for the employee benefits for all current employees and our retirees. As such, she participates in the major life events of all of our employees. She meets with everyone joining SBCC who is eligible for employment or enrollment in our benefit options. She works closely with expectant families on their leave entitlement and in getting their new addition enrolled in coverage. She works with employees returning from medical leaves of absence to conduct discussions related to reasonable accommodations that may be needed to enable them to perform the essential functions of their job. She works with bereft family members, widows, and widowers of employees who have passed away and assists with their questions relative to survivor benefits. She meets with employees who are considering changing benefit plans to explain the differences. She works with our retirees to assist with their benefit questions, especially during open enrollment season. My point being, sooner or later, as an employee, your path will lead to Sharon. When it does, you will discover that her position requires exceptional listening skills, sensitivity and tact, and the ability to communicate unpopular messages when required. She has distinguished herself as very capable of all of the above. Sharon, simply put, your position touches the lives of everyone who works at SBCC. I know you take that seriously every day, and for that I'm most grateful. I mentioned that Sharon participates in the major life events of our employees. When you work with someone for a decade, you also have the privilege of participating in many of their major life events also. We have experienced 3 relocations around Santa Barbara, 1 new car, Rachel, her dear mom, moving back to Santa Barbara, a multitude of family-related events. She has a very large extended family in Santa Barbara, and most happily, her engagement to be married to Michael, who I know is present in the audience this afternoon. I want to express my heartfelt thanks and congratulations on reaching 10 years of service to Santa Barbara City College, and although this may be the longest you've ever worked anyplace, I hope that you will be celebrating 20 years of service here also. And trust me, it'll happen sooner than you can imagine. So in honor of this occasion, in addition to the flowers, which I will give you now, I also wrote a little poem. Little poem. Okay, here we go. No English teachers in the audience, I hope. 'Twas 10 years ago, more or less, that Sharon came to work with us. Some wondered why. Some furrowed their brow. Why did I choose to hire her now? She had spunk, a twinkle in her eye. She had something I wanted to buy. A local person with relatives galore. Her cousin's husband installed my floors. The outspoken voice, the critical eye, Sharon does not believe in just getting by. Her standards are high, her work ethic strong. I knew right away that we would get along. Those doubters became shouters, and as you can see, many their glee. Congratulations and thank you for 10 years with me. And as I said earlier, it was meant to be.
Said I wasn't going to get emotional, but she manages to do that to me all the time. I want to thank all my HR family for being here. It's a pretty big deal for me to be with one organization for 10 years. And I want to thank Pat for hiring me. I came in to an office that had people like Stella and Charlene that had been with the college for 30 plus years, and she gave me a chance, and thank you. And I just want to say that you continuously teach us to put the human in human resources. Thank you. Thank you.
May I say before Dr. Jarrell introduces the next person we're going to recognize, that in the 4 years I've been here, I haven't seen anybody have a fan club in the audience, replete with signs. Wow. You know, maybe a big raise would be in order if you can generate that kind of following, huh?
No complaints there. Great. Well, poetry's a hard act to always follow. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one, but this is one of my certainly most favorite things that we get to do, to recognize part of a long history with the institution, and as evidenced by the showing here, certainly that family feeling. And you know, while I'm one of the newest members, I get to recognize one of the ones that's been here the longest. So that's always fun. So I'm here to recognize and honor Marilyn Spaventa. I make no promises not to get emotional. You know, I wanted to mention, I always like to mention a few words, and I feel like I want to talk to you, but, oh, great, I'll feel better, thank you. It's all about me. Now this is getting awkward. Yes. Well, I think that really actually displays, I think, who Marilyn is. I asked several people if they could help me, although I feel like I have gotten to know Marilyn really well. It's only been a few months that we've actually got to work closely together. She probably doesn't remember, but I actually met her a year ago, I think today almost. We sat next to each other at a CIO conference that was, and I was in a hiring workshop, and she was handing out flyers for this position. So I thank her for that one. So that was a year ago, but since getting to work with her, the words that people have used to describe you are certainly true. Servant came to mind. Mentor was several times, and I contributed that one as well. Persistent, and we've seen that one. I'm going to follow that one, though, with kind-hearted. She's special, awesome, dedicated, supportive. She's a storyteller that likes to tell a lot of stories. The word friend came up routinely, which I think is really quite a testament. A couple people shared a couple stories that I think are relevant. One of our astronomy instructors shared a story. He was an adjunct faculty member, and it was his first evaluation I think he'd ever gotten as a faculty member. And he expected to get, checks, and he'd done okay. He recognized he had areas that he had to improve. But he got a nice handwritten note saying how important his contributions were. And today that's in his memory box. So I think that's very special. Also, she has been giving of the student praise. One faculty member mentioned a time when some students won a competition and actually beat UCSB students in this competition, and she provided them with dessert. And he said dessert and drinks. I'm going to assume those were non-adult drinks. We'll just say, although he did say they weren't out of district funds, so that's very important. But what I really want to say, and I mentioned this before, that what really makes an institution are people. And I think that occasionally you get people that define an institution, and I think you've done that well. One of her faculty members said this, and I think that this really encapsulates that sentiment, that the SBCC fabric is stronger because of her. So.
So I just want to say how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to work here all of these years with so many amazing faculty, staff, colleagues of managers and administrators. I've played a lot of different roles here over the past 25 years, which makes it really interesting. And I always tell my friends how proud I am to work for the only institution in the world where anybody can come at any time and change their lives, and that's the community college system, and SBCC is at the top of that. So how lucky am I? Thank you.
Okay,
Make a comment?
go ahead.
While you're all leaving, or perhaps in spite of the fact that you're all leaving, I wanted to say a word about Marilyn. She's leaving. So
Leave Maryland.
So never mind. No, I'm going to say it anyway because there are various attributes that describe Marilyn, and they describe her well. But in those various roles that she played so well for such a long period of time, the word unflappable comes to my mind, and I wanted her to know that flappable.
I think a lot of us would like or had minor things we could add, but I can't supersede any of the other great comments. Marilyn's been a real good addition, and we've all had the chance to work with her at least once a year on the graduation podium, if nothing else. And moving along here, we have approval of minutes from October 27th.
Move approval of item 3.1 minutes of the regular meeting, September 22nd.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay,
mean
all in
the-
favor?
You said the minutes of October, you mean,
It says October, oh, whoops, I'm sorry.
yeah, September 22nd?
September 22nd. I'll learn how to read one of these days.
Yeah, I'll move approval unless,
She said that.
I said September 22nd.
oh, you did?
Yes, she did.
I didn't hear.
I read it from right up there. Thank you, Angie.
Okay.
And we have a second. Any discussion?
Motion to pass.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody, any nays? No? Motion passes. Now, we do have a speaker today. We haven't had any public speakers for quite a few board meetings in a row here. So I have a slip from Mr. Lanny Evanston.
Members of the board, President Beebe, it's a pleasure to address you today. First of all, thank you for your service on behalf of the, for your service to the community. I'm here because of the article that was in the Independent on the campus center and its funding deficiency. And as I'm not speaking on behalf of the Santa Barbara County Taxpayers Association, so I do want to make that clear, but I am a past president of that organization as well as continuing to be chair of its education committee. We were strong supporters of Measure V in 2008 and also Measure S 2 years ago. And I think it's really important that the board do whatever it can to leave no stone unturned to retain $20 million of funding from the state of California. That's a very significant amount of funds in challenging budget times. And as I read the article, I'm cognizant both of the overall funding shortfall, in part as a result of declining enrollment, which has been projected by a number of individuals for a number of years, and also that the bids came in higher than anticipated for a variety of reasons. But at the same time, $20 million is $20 million from the state of California, and I think that whether it's through combined public-private fundraising or through other endeavors, I hope the board will give strong consideration to doing whatever it can to retain those funds. Thank you very much.
Your comments are very much appreciated, and we heard you. Do I get to call for?
Did you bring your checkbook? I mean,
Yeah, we're taking donations. You know, that $20 million is in part, has to be matched, and we are discussing this. And our discussions are intense when we do. So we'll be having to make that decision shortly. Next item on the agenda is the report by the Academic Senate. Priscilla Butler. I should say Dr. Priscilla Butler. Don't be modest. You earned it.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Jarrell. So I wanted to talk about what the Senate has been involved in most recently, and it's very fitting that this meeting began with recognition of 2 of our employees among the others on the list because, as someone said, people are at the center of what we do. And this year we have just completed the process of ranking our full-time faculty positions. You may know that we have 19 full-time faculty who are leaving the institution this year. And we had requests for 23 positions, both replacement and new. So just a little timeline of our process. The faculty position requests were due to Dr. Jarrell's office by September 26th. And we had 2 presentation dates at the Academic Senate to hear from the departments and explain more fully the needs that they have for positions. Those occurred on October 12th and 19th. And then yesterday we completed our ranking. And at this time that we're talking about budget, it seems to kind of consume our conversation these days. I imagine that some people maybe around us, maybe some members of the board may wonder, why would we hire replacement faculty, or why would we hire anyone new this year? And so I just wanted to make sure that I've expressed on behalf of the faculty how important it is to invest in at least some replacement. I think we all recognize that not all 19 positions can be replaced, but some portion of them we certainly hope. And there are really 3 main things. And the first one, you know, as you mentioned about the mission statement, remembering that students are at the center, it's about students' access and success. So one fact that people may not recognize is that even though our enrollments have been declining year on year, we have programs that have not experienced that decline, even programs that have increased their enrollment during these years. So the college is not a uniform entity in terms of its need. So if we can't hire full-time faculty in some areas, and we've even had this case already this year where there were classes that were fully enrolled and had to be canceled because of the inability to staff them with faculty who have the appropriate qualifications. That's not true, of course, in most areas, but it is certainly true in some. So that allowing those classes to stay open really requires hiring faculty. Another reason it's so important to invest in full-time faculty hiring is the ability to sustain programs. So diversity of program offerings is something that the faculty and the Senate have long supported, and to be able to offer programs really requires full-time faculty to help lead them, because we're primarily responsible for curriculum development and changes leadership in those program areas. So that's really important. And the third one I almost hate to mention, because I think we educators don't really like talking about money, but revenue generation. If we don't have the faculty to teach the classes, we're going to lose that much revenue. And so this really is also a budget issue. So I will be meeting with Dr. Beebe the first week of November to talk with him, and we'll have a conversation about these topics. But we are hopeful that everybody understands that investment in our full-time faculty positions, even in stressful budget times, is really essential. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Priscilla, I thank you for your comments, and I have ultimate faith in the Academic Senate to make the proper kinds of decisions. And everything that has been said at this table by Dr. Beebe and others has suggested that we certainly understand each of the components and the reasons why we will certainly want to hire as many faculty as our budget will sustain. That's the critical variable.
I understand, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, Priscilla. Okay, next we have report by Associated Students. Dylan, welcome.
Good afternoon, Dr. Jarrell and members of the board. Thank you for having me here today to report on our students. With an influx of 7 new members last month, which brought our total membership to 13, the ASG has been able to develop a full agenda of exciting projects and initiatives. We now have a complete set of internal committees and are able to pursue all of our goals without the limitations we had with only 6 members. Our senators have been working hard to register and motivate students to vote, and we are organizing many opportunities for students to come together and discuss issues of need and concern. This past Sunday, our new members received their parliamentary and Brown Act orientation. In all, I am very pleased with the team that we've built this semester. Next, I'd like to report on the ASG's position regarding the academic calendar. The ASG supports the offering of 2 summer sessions in the summer of 2017. A vast majority of the associate students surveyed are in favor of 2 sessions. The reasons for this are many and varied. Most notably, offering 2 sessions allows students greater flexibility to take the courses they need, as they have 2 opportunities to take classes during the summer months rather than just 1. Furthermore, 2 sessions give students the opportunity to spread out their workload over the course of 2 sessions if they would like to take more than 1 class in the summer. Additionally, 2 sessions provides a significant positive fiscal impact to our college. In light of budgetary concerns and a growing deficit, it would be prudent to maintain this revenue stream. However, the ASG does have concerns regarding 2 sessions and would like to see them addressed. The biggest concerns are in regards to work overload for staff and faculty. If 2 sessions are scheduled, we urge the administration to develop solutions and allocate resources to ensure that all college personnel have optimal working conditions, since the well-being of the staff and faculty are integral to the quality of the education our students receive. Next month, the ASG will be attending the General Assembly of the Student Senate for California Community Colleges Association in California that represents community college students. We'll be engaged in the development and passing of resolutions that can go on to affect all community college students in the state. I look forward to reporting on the General Assembly and everything else that the ASG accomplishes in the coming months. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any comments? You've been a busy man.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next we'll move on to report from classified employees. Liz Hutchinclass.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Dr. Jarrell. Groups met a couple times, and most of our meetings, during our meetings, we've been discussing the fiscal challenges, I should say. And we've had several of our members and other classified staff that have participated in emergency CPC plus. I call it plus plus because it's the plus plus more people. And they've participated on several of the teams that will be reporting back at a future meeting. So, and then we've also been, of course, discussing what's going to happen with the campus center. Things have been moving very fast, so we haven't reached any conclusions, but we have been discussing these issues, so thought you might be interested in that. We're trying to keep our members informed, and also it helps that Dr. Beebe has sent out his waypoint, which helps to squash some rumors that were started and were going around that were upsetting some staff. So that's been resolved, so that's very helpful. So any questions?
Anybody? Excellent. I have a question, but it's not related to what you were,
Okay.
to your report. But because of the department you work in, I wonder where the TV camera is today for the meeting. Usually at the board meeting, there's a camera on a tripod over there.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But we're broadcasting it on YouTube. Our department is taking care of that now. It's being streamed.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it is. So you are on YouTube
I
right
thought
now.
maybe we were home free, no cameras.
You see the camera there?
There and over there?
And the people in the booth back there?
They're waving, okay.
Yes.
Now you have to
It's
behave.
good to know that we're being watched. Okay.
Yes, and it's live streaming.
We appreciate the attention. If you would like to make comments, be here next time. You can do it live. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mary Ann?
I just wanted to express my appreciation for all of the groups of people that regularly report to us, because I have been involved with a lot of educational institutions, as you might guess, and I've never been to one that has more participative process. And so, thank you, all of you, for the reports that we get. They're really very important to us.
Thank you. Anybody else? Good job moving along here. I guess it's time for the president's report. Dr.
Well, in lieu of the president's report, I will provide one on his behalf. I do want to echo Liz's comments regarding the working groups to address the fiscal deficits that we're working on, and it has been a very intense collegial process, and I think that the outcomes will benefit the district quite a bit. The process has been a really good one. So I look forward to being able to discuss those more fully. This morning I wanted to comment, we had a breakfast for high school counselors in the area, and they attended, and during that breakfast we got to provide them with a good bit of information regarding programs that we have here to encourage students to consider Santa Barbara City College as their first choice college. It was very successful, and look forward to working with those counselors as we move forward. One of the things that we discussed, I don't think Jeff Green is here, but I do want to mention that the foundation's video, the Promise video, the competition was held, and that was the top vote getter. So congratulations to Jeff and his team on putting that together, and I think that's a really good thing for us to highlight as we really work in the community to try to encourage students to attend here. So I want to thank him and the foundation for that.
Thank you for that report. Any comments? Okay, we'll move. Go ahead.
Where's Dr. Beebe today? Is he out sick or?
Yeah, Dr. Beebe's out today.
Okay, so moving along here, we're down to reports from board members. Anybody have anything?
Two of the board members, Veronica and I, had the opportunity to attend the luncheon this noon for Girls Inc. And it was very, very impressive. And one of the very nice things is that I recognized a lot of people that have been associated with this college.
Thank you.
Girls Inc. is a remarkable organization, and particularly remarkable in this community. And it was a privilege to be there.
Good. I have one thing, it's not as maybe as directly related, but when I think about the mission statement of the college, I think for 10 years I have been present at and a part of working on the United Nations dinner held, and the last one was this last Thursday. And it's sponsored, put on by Santa Barbara Sister Cities, of which there are like 6 of them in town. Not all of them are very active, but some of them are extremely active. One is, has been and might still be the largest United States sister city with a foreign city that we have in the country right here in Santa Barbara. Let's see, Dr. Hasland has been present at that meeting more times than I have, and before I even knew about it. This year was kind of special because one of the sister cities in Santa Barbara is Santa Barbara and Toba, Japan, and there were 20 visitors from Toba at the meeting, and we had some really rich entertainment culturally. We had Japanese traditional dances, and we had guest speakers. We had a representative, as we do most every year, from the United Nations. Our local mayor and other dignitaries were in attendance. You know, it's all part of getting to know our community, keeping in touch, and I think it's an important thing for us to be doing. So next year, in the end of October, there'll be another United Nations dinner. Maybe make a note on your calendar, and you can always ask me if no other way to do it, or the mayor's office. Thank you. Doctor?
The Santa Barbara City College is very much involved in four, I think there's still four, parent-child workshops, one of which had its annual fundraiser this last week. That was the Lou Grant Parent-Child Workshop. This is a process where, yes, there are children there, but the students are really the parents. And this is done on the premise that anybody can become a parent, but we don't get much training prior to becoming a parent, and Parent-Child Workshops helps with that in that respect. And Lou Grant has been a stellar member of that community. It's a great time. We did it in Carpinteria, and I think there must have been 500, 700 people there to help celebrate and raise funds for that very valuable enterprise.
And can I just add, Peter, that our students, because they're parent, they enroll in the course, being a classroom teacher, those parents end up being some of the best classroom volunteers that really help facilitate learning in the classroom. So it is something that I don't think you would know unless you were a teacher and you had a very competent adult that knows children, was taught by a faculty member about developmental practices that are appropriate for children and that know how to communicate with other adults and just work in a school setting, because working in a school setting is complicated.
Yeah. No, I'm very proud of our participation in this particular respect. While I was teaching, I would often find that some of the better students, some of the students who felt more secure in themselves, had been a part of this program. And I would love to make it more available to people.
All of that was good news, good to hear. Moving on here, we're going to go to the consent agenda. And we've been doing this now, this is the third meeting that we've done the consent agenda. For those not aware of the process, the board develops a consent agenda made up of those items that are routine, non-controversial, and not in need of further explanation. That doesn't mean that we don't have to read them and study them and read all of the attachments to the agenda, but no action is generally required except to endorse what's been done or is about to happen. And as long as we pay attention to those items, we're good to go. So what I'd like to do at this point is to ask fellow board members, does anybody have any particular item that they'd like to pull from the group? And it's items, whatever it is, 7 through 10, all of them.
I have
Mary
to
Ann's first.
excuse myself from voting because of item 8.3.
So we'll pull that. 8.3
Yes.
we'll pull out? Okay. Dr. Hasland?
Part of the process of creating the consent agenda is to notify the president that you have some questions about whatever item you're looking at. And I had 6 or 7, and I sent those to Dr. Beebe. He responded immediately and fully to my satisfaction, and I think this is part of the process. The only concern I had that I think bears just a word of explanation is our agendas are sometimes, and I'd really enjoy some feedback on this, sometimes they're created with the view that only us chickens are looking at them. And I want us to remember that we're spending the public's money. And if this is really a public document, the descriptors need to be just a little more complete. There was an item in here, for example, about the purchase of a refrigeration item. Unless you knew that the refrigeration item, which is a very costly enterprise, was actually malfunctioning, the existing one was malfunctioning, that wouldn't make any sense to you. So just I would request just a separate line saying, why are we doing this? Because I think the public would respond well to that.
Peter, are you talking about the purchase order?
Yeah.
The long report with all the purchase orders? Yeah, and I think, Craig talked about this. You've mentioned this in the last 4 years that I remember. And the thing with that is you're approving something that's already been spent.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the interesting thing about the POs. And so it's basically they're running off everything that's been come through. But, I mean, I guess Dr. Durrell can take that back and talk with staff and see what they think about.
Thanks, Veronica. And I think that I view those things when we see something that's
I know
already
you
been
do.
spent. I feel like we're being asked to endorse it. And sometimes I've asked questions. I ask always, why are we doing this? They've already done it. But I think if we don't like it or question it, maybe they could alter their process a little bit or explain things. And they do. The staff has been responsive. I'm pretty happy. I still have to get used to this consent agenda, and especially now if we're live streaming. And we're not naming all these, every point, and we're just taking them as a group. I think that we have to really, I would encourage all my counterparts here to take a good hard look at what we're not saying by just lumping it together and moving on.
Well, but it also, Angie's not, it's all still a big public document. So
Yes,
on
it is.
our online, it still is viewed the same way. We're just not voting in each thing independently. So Angie, everything is still out there. So what you see on the screen is what's online.
Correct.
And you can tap on permanent personnel and you will see the list of everyone.
Yeah, if those viewers out there, they can just go to our website,
Yeah.
sbcc.edu, and go to the Board of Trustees, and you can find this, and the information is really displayed and it's easy to use. I say that because I'm used to it, but it isn't. I don't think it's very hard to find whatever you want. And you can read all of the attachments. Any other comments?
I think
Joe came up, so we're going to give you the floor.
Real quickly, the item Dr. Haslam referred to is item 10.6, which
Right.
is the EBS chiller, which is an individual item. It wasn't included in the purchase
Oh.
orders. And that the purchase orders are all, although you say the money has been spent, it's all items that are budget line approved. So when you approve the budget, we would not open a purchase order for something that was not budget line approved. Those are the ones that then come to the consent agenda, like the chiller. That was not approved in a budget, so it becomes an independent item that comes to you. So I just want to clarify, that's really the difference between the two.
I just want to be very clear because I'm halfway, I want to make the point, but I'm also scared that there'll be an overreaction to the point. And that could cause people to be, to do a whole lot more than I'm asking for. No, but taking 10.6 as an example, what is very clear is that this has been subject to competitive bidding. What is not clear is why we're doing it, and just a single phrase. That's all I'm asking for, a single phrase.
I understand. We'll definitely take that to heart. I mean, that's,
Okay.
and looking at the questions that you had this time, we can attempt to address them before you ask them in the future. We'll do that.
Sometimes just, I know what we're asking is more stuff that we have to read, more words on the paper, but a little more description sometimes so that, we're not technically in the department that's doing it and they're the ones writing the description. You got to think that maybe someone on the Board of Trustees doesn't know what this is or something like that. A little more descriptiveness would make it, might just alleviate questions and less of Dr. Beebe's time to answer them. Thank you.
Can I just add, Peter, that I think to eliminate any, they're asking, just to remind everyone, this is a request we're giving to Dr. Durrell to give to Dr. Beebe, and then they work through their processes. And that will eliminate anyone thinking, the board's asking us to do stuff.
No, if I heard right, I'll relay to Dr. Beebe. The request basically is a short rationale for items that would appear. Yeah.
Couldn't have said better myself.
Thank you,
Okay,
Peter.
good. Okay, we are excluding 8.3. Are there any other items that anybody would like excluded from the consent agenda?
So
Okay.
we're,
So at this,
we're moving to approve or to place
the
on
consent agenda.
Well, we don't have a consent agenda yet.
All the other items are the consent agenda, or on
Okay.
7 through
So you
10.
don't want- So you don't want a motion to create a consent
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
you know.
That's, I do need a motion. Sorry about that. Need a motion for the consent agenda?
So, so
Excluding
I move
8.3.
approval
Ask
for the
it.
consent agenda, items 8.1 through items 10.7 minus 8.3. So items 8.1 through 8.2, and then items 8.4 through 10.7, right, Angie?
Excellent. Do we have a second?
I second.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you need to pull to vote on board policy 7.1? Can that be part of a consent? agenda?
No, it cannot.
That can be part of it, and we had a public reading of that, and it was basically a name change.
Perfect, thank
So
you.
this
From
would be our,
From bookstore to campus store. Yes,
this would be our second reading for
Reading.
that board policy.
correct. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, it's unanimous. Thank you.
So now I would like to move approval of item 8.3.
Thank you. Second? Jonathan seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Opposed? Don't hear anybody?
Abstain.
Yes, just
Oh.
a reminder that. I
Marianne is
abstained.
excluding herself. And then we move on, I believe, to the resolutions. No, yes, we do. We move on to the resolution number 9, Business Services Action Item. 11, did I say?
11.1.
Okay, we can actually take resolution number 9 and resolution number 10 together. They're the budget transfer between major objects and then the augmentation of revenue.
Wait a minute, number 9?
Resolution.
So
Item
it-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, items 11.1 and
Oh, I've seen
11.2.
the resolution numbers, 9 and 10 together?
Yes.
If no board member has objection, we can do that. Good. Do I have a motion? It's a roll call vote, right? So we don't need a
Right,
motion,
but we
correct?
But you need a first and a second.
We need a motion.
We need a motion still.
I'll move to do it.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, trustee Haslam,
Aye?
trustee Gallardo,
Aye.
trustee Abud,
Aye.
trustee Kugler,
Aye.
trustee Nielsen,
Aye.
student trustee Gribler.
Aye.
Okay. Is that everybody?
I think
Yeah.
that's everybody.
All right, so now we can, I think we have to go to closed session. That was not too bad. So now we got to go up and march off, and we'll be back here to adjourn, because I have nothing on the agenda after the closed session. Correct. If you want to hang around and listen to the report out, you're welcome. Usually the room is empty when we come back. Thank you.